I love the summertime, but with summertime comes the heat and the humidity. I really rather just have the heat. The humidity causes all kinds of discomfort, and it can cause all kinds of problems in your home. So I've asked my good friend Nathan Shafer to join me here on the program today to talk about humidity and how it can be a problem in your home in the summertime. Nathan, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you today, Jim?
I'm doing fantastic. So you can really help people a lot with getting humidity down. And before we get into that, I'm just going to remind everybody why humidity is a bad idea inside your home where you live. Number one, it's very uncomfortable. It'll feel warmer than it is. You'll be crankier too, so your spouse won't be happy with you. It's also bad because it can create mildew and mold possibly, and that's not good for anybody. And so it's really important to have a system in the home, whether it's a dehumidifier, a portable one, a whole house one, or your air conditioning system, which really is kind of an ultimate dehumidifier. It will dehumidify the entire home while keep you cool. But there are a lot of things you have to understand about that. So once again, the question, Nathan, why is it so important, and how does the high humidity affect the home?
Yeah, no, great question. We're definitely coming into that season, right, where we're about to start feeling it,
Mm.
and the AC starts running. We got the temperature. We thought coming out of spring, 70 felt pretty good, or 72 felt good, and now all of a sudden, we're like, man, why is the 70 or 72 or whatever you keep the thermostat set feels warmer all of a sudden? And we're cranking it down lower. Like you said, that humidity plays such a huge factor into the overall comfort, what that feels like in the home. And so there's definitely a fine line. We don't want it to be too dry in the house, and you get issues in the wintertime. We don't want it to be too humid, too moist in the house either, because yes, it'll cause those issues with comfort, with mold, bacteria. Things will start to expand, right, and absorb moisture. Your flooring warranties will be voided if you read the fine print of most flooring, or pianos, same thing. All these different things. It's amazing how much it's not talked about, but what the effect that it has in the overall comfort and health in the home. They say, I think it's with humidity, for every 5% change in relative humidity, it'll feel like 1 degree. And
Mm.
so if it was to increase humidity in the house by 10%, so it went from 50% to 60%, that 70 now feels like 72. And so that's why you get that feeling.
Yeah, and so the humidity makes a big difference. If you live in a climate where the humidity is only 20%, maybe in the teens, like Arizona, they
Hmm.
use totally different systems there. But
Correct. Yeah.
in Ohio, it's a little different. And so we really need to have the right amount of humidity pulled out. And so systems need to be sized right, your AC
Hmm.
system, and they need to cycle off and on correctly. A big problem I've seen before, Nathan, is people will say, well, I've got the air conditioning running and it's only 72 degrees in the home, but it's still sticky. And the problem is it's probably not running long enough. It's probably cooling too quickly and cycling off because the thermostat says, "Oh, we're satisfied." A humidistat would say different, but a thermostat would say we're satisfied, so we're going to turn it off. But the
Hmm.
humidity's still high, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That it kind of goes back to a lot of times, everybody always says all the years, bigger is better. So, hey, I need the biggest AC I can get, because that's going to do a better job. And in all reality, really, when it comes to comfort and utility savings and upfront cost, really bigger could actually almost be worse than a little bit undersized for that simple fact. Because at least ways, if it was a little bit undersized, obviously we want the correct size, and it takes all the load calcs and designs to do that. But if we had to pick one or the other for comfort and utility savings and upfront cost, undersized would do a better job if it's going to run longer. And that AC, like you mentioned, is a dehumidifier. It's going to pull more humidity out of the air versus something that's oversized or misproperly sized or not well maintained and different things, not running up the specs for that house. well, it's now you're not going to be able to remove the moisture from the air and the amount of shorter runtime that it runs.
Yeah. So if you're watching Nathan and I, you're not so sure what's going on, just call him. His information is located in the description of this podcast and a link to his website as well. It's really important to have things balanced right, sized right. You want to make sure everything from the air that's going into the system through the filter, then back out again, is proper, that everything is balanced in the home, because sometimes you'll have a hot spot or a cold spot in your house. It could be that guest room, and you're like, why is it always cold in the winter and hot in the summer? Could be a number of reasons. So just have Nathan and his team come out. They'll take a look at everything, and you just want it to run efficiently. It's like when your car is misfiring, which doesn't happen as much as it used to. But you go back a few decades and, cars would run rough. You bring it into the shop so they can tune it up. You need a tune up for your AC system as well. Isn't that true?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Studies show that, get those tune-ups, and by a tune-up, I mean really extensive, properly done tune-ups and cleanings and inspections of those systems by a trained professional, at least, twice a year, once in heating, once in cooling, not only extends the life of that system for many, many years, but as well as makes that system run more efficiently in the meantime, keeps it closer to those factory specs of when you bought that system. And it used to work so well, and for some reason now it doesn't. All goes into having that system properly maintained and serviced.
And something else too, which I won't get into a lot of detail, is even though you may have had a house built by a reputable builder a few years ago, doesn't mean the HVAC system was installed properly. It works, but maybe the return's not in the ideal place. Maybe another return has to be put in. There could be a ductwork issue. Who knows for sure? But the team at Shafer knows what to do and what to look for, and it's really nice when they fix a problem. So I really appreciate you being here today, Nathan. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim. As always, good talking to you.